From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production, the NFL Bet Exchange, hosted by my man, Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Jeff Dawson.
What's up, world? It is time for the NFL Bet Exchange with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson. And you guys already know what time it is. West meets East. You know how it goes. Bird and Magic and all that good stuff. You know, Red Auerbach and Jerry Buss, whatever you want. You know what I mean? But this is my brother from another. And, man, it's always a pleasure to have you with me on these shows, but especially this show right here because it does deliver the best bets in the industry. So what's up? How's everything going, sir?
NFL stands for not for long or any given Thursday, Sunday, or Monday. Just ask the Buffalo Bills with their loss to the Patriots. Ask the San Francisco 49ers last night with their loss at Minnesota. And, of course, even we'll start off Thursday night with a hobbled Trevor Lawrence. They come into New Orleans and take down the Saints. So tough to be at the top of the heap where the cream has risen to the top. We talked about it backstage with Mr. Mahomes. We talked a little about Lamar. So the tide is shifting a little. So we're week, 8 right now? So we're on to something here. So no bye weeks this week as they're getting ready for the next 2 weeks with single games in Germany. But fired up to be here, Pops.
All right. All right. Let's get it. Let's jump into it because, you know, we went a little bit over. You know, I'll be telling these people I'm starting the show at 10. It's 10:30. So let's go ahead. And week 7, as Jeff talked about, week 7 was kind of off for both of us. You know, I went 6-7, 49 and 57 on the year for me. Jeff had regressed just a little bit. He's back up below 500, just a little bit below 500, 53, 54, and 1 for the season. So that's where we're at after 7 weeks. So pretty much let's go ahead and jump into the Thursday night football game. And this week, the Thursday night football game features the Bucks 3-3 and the Bills, who are 4-3, 8.5 point spread, over under a 42.5. Jeff, I'm going to have to get on your head a little bit today because Jeff said take the New England Patriots with the not the New England Patriots. He said take the Bills first quarter, first half. It should be easy. By the time it was 5 minutes into just the day of Sunday, and the Patriots were already up 10-0. And I said, oh, God, the mush is in. So it is what it is at the end of the day. It wasn't really Jeff's fault. It was really pretty much all you bettors' fault because you guys mushed the Bills going into this game. You guys know better when we're going into Foxborough dealing with Bill Belichick. You just don't just write them off that easily. You know what I mean? But, Jeff, I'm going to let you kick this one off. What are your thoughts on this one, and who do you have winning this game?
You know, something is wrong in Buffalo. Lose opening week to basically no Aaron Rodgers in New York. Then they took care of business back home. I think it was against the Raiders. Then they traveled to Washington, take care of business there. Come back home, dismantle the Dolphins. Now, things were looking up 3-1. Well, guess what? You travel to London and you lay up a goose egg to the Jaguars who are waiting for you. You come back home, basically played with your food. I think a 14, 15, 11, 12-point favorite against the Giants. Hold on for dear life. And then you come to Foxborough where, again, New England couldn't score in the first quarter. They don't score in the half. And as you said, blink, it's 3-0. Blink again, it's 10-0. Trouble in paradise. I don't know what's going on there. There's talks they're looking at Derrick Henry. They're just trying to figure something out. Josh Allen hurt? I don't know. Bucks coming off a ho-hum loss, now 3-3. Short and sweet here. Something's got to give. Short week, egg on their face. I bought the hook here, Pops. I took it down to 8. I like the Bills to win by double digits here. I'm expecting a pick 6 maybe by Baker Mayfield. But here's the problem, Pops. You also got a desperate Bucks team. We want to focus on the Bills and how they're going to get right. Well, the same with the Bucks, and the Bucks defense isn't that bad either. Give me the Bills -8, and I'm praying here, Pops. I'm praying.
All right, so Jeff is going to take the Bills with the -8 here, and looking at the he's going to add the -120 onto it as well too. So that's going to be a pretty strong. That's a pretty strong sentiment right there because you know what? I'm looking at this game and I'm telling myself that this is going to be risky business regardless of anything. I think that the odds maker set this game up to where they know the Bills are going to get a lot of the action. So you have to make this bet. You have to make it to where the Bucks are going to get a little bit of love or make it to where it's going to be at least a 50% hold on the bets. You know what I mean? You want that. You want that type of situation. But this game is tricky, but I'm not going to let it fool me because I say this because you do have a Bucks team and nobody's mentioned this, but the Bucks are 2-0 on the road and they were underdogs on the road by 3.5 or better both times. And we know that when a team plays a little bit better on the road, then you know things work out a little bit differently for them. They got a good win over Minnesota, and they got a good win over the Saints, but both those games were inside too. This is outdoors in the elements. It's going to be a little nippy out there in Buffalo as well too. And Buffalo has seemed to be able to bounce back so well after these losses. So I truly do feel that Buffalo does go ahead and win this game by double digits or better. I just feel like because it's on 3 days rest and the Buccaneers have not looked good in the last few games that they played. Okay, because they wound up, starting the season off 3-1. Now they've dropped their last 2 in a row, and I feel like okay, those games were really hard, but at the same time, those games were winnable as well too. And I feel like the Bills just kind of just overlooked their opponent in the Patriots game, and that's why they wound up being the way that they were. So that's why I feel like it's an easy call to see them win this game by 2 touchdowns or better, because I truly feel like the Bills are really going to try to choke out the Bucks. They're going to really run their drives and try to get themselves some points. But the Bucks do bring a good defense to the game as well too. So the under could be in play as well. But I just think Baker's just going to have way too many problems because that's just what Baker's been the last few weeks. And I don't know what they're going to have to do in Tampa, but quite possibly they may need to be thinking about switching out the quarterback, in my opinion. Baker, I know that, you want to rock with Baker because he was a number 1 pick. He's a good leader and everything like that, but you might need to start looking into possibly bringing in a replacement. Just wish. Now, I know for some wishful thinking, but I just think that maybe that might work a little bit, but we'll see how it goes. But we move forward and we have the Vikings and the Packers. We got a Vikings team that's 2-4. You have a Packers team that's 2-4. You got a 2.5 point spread. You got an over under 42.5. This is a NFC North game. You know that these teams are trying to stay somewhat afloat in the division as well too. And the Packers do have their division win. They've already beaten the Bears earlier this season. Minnesota's also beat the Bears earlier this season as well too. So, there is a very, very good game on the horizon here between two teams that are very similar in a sense. I truly do feel that Minnesota is a lot better than most want to say Minnesota is, and Minnesota is actually 3-4. I'm sorry about that. And Minnesota is a team I feel that is, getting better. And I knew that it wasn't going to take that long. Jeff, I told you on the show that they were going to be a good team. You know what I mean? A lot of people were already writing them off, throwing them away, but Minnesota has played a tough schedule. And then Minnesota last night showed all of us that, you know what, if we just chill out, relax, play some good defense, we can compete with any team in this league. And they went ahead and beat the best team in football to me. I know for other people, San Francisco is not. But to me, the 49ers are the best team in football, and they beat them last night. But they beat them in the right way. They took their time, they had patient drives, and they played good, steady defense. And they went ahead and they keyed in on all the weaknesses of the 49ers, and they executed a great game plan. That's why they were able to win this game. So I truly say Minnesota is turning the corner. They're becoming a better team. Now, the Packers, this team, I feel like is on the brink of being really good because Jordan Love's just trying to figure it out. He's trying to make it a little easier on himself. And they were so close to beating the Broncos on Sunday. They played great football. He figured out a way to get his team back in the game. They came back. And you know what? That's what you like about Jordan Love. He doesn't quit. And Jordan Love has been able to get his team back in games in a fun fashion. I would feel that he kind of is like a continuation of what Kaepernick was before he got hurt. And that's how he pretty much looks out there. And I think that, Green Bay is a few players away from really being a really good team. I know that it's a work in progress type situation, but this team is still really good, in my opinion, because they're coached well. LaFleur doesn't get a lot of props because Aaron Rodgers was such a baby when he was there. But LaFleur has been a really good coach. And I feel like this will be a good game for the Packers to get back on the good foot. So I'm taking the Packers with the minus 135 here. And I think that they're going to be good money at Lambeau here. And they go to 2-0 in the division, Jeff. Your thoughts, and who do you have winning this game?
Well, when you sent me the script last night, I sent you my picks and then watched the Vikings upset the 49ers. I'll give you some updated information right now as we speak. My true number was Minnesota -1 and an over-under of 43. Right now at Circa, it is a pick 'em. There is a 1 at DraftKings, Green Bay favored. FanDuel, Pennsylvania, Minnesota's favored by 1.5. So, again, everyone remembers what they saw last year. Denver, Packers at Denver with the ball with a chance to win the game, and he just threw a dumb pass down the field, got picked off. Thanks for playing. Showed flashes, banged up again, this team. Aaron Jones not at 100%. It looks like Christian Watson will be out again. A Minnesota team, no Justin Jefferson. But they drafted this guy no one was talking about named Jordan Addison, wide receiver, as you know, from USC, balled out again last night. Kurt showed some moxie last night. He's not going anywhere. I think this is a battle from Jump Street. I bought the hook. I took the Vikings up to 3. Vegas has this one 23-20 pops. First one to 23 wins this game. I think the Vikings at least cover. I think the more desperate team will be the Packers. I like where your eyes are, hoping that it lands by 3 or less here, Pops.
All right. Sounds good, brother. Sounds good. And real quick about Addison, man, I did interview him back at the draft and everything like that. And I thought when he got picked by Minnesota that Minnesota probably had became the most potent passing offense in the NFC if everything went right. And pretty much they're somewhat there, but Jefferson's out. But Jefferson was still playing MVP-like football. And it was funny because Addison was still scoring touchdowns. He might have not been getting as many yards, but he was still scoring touchdowns. And last night, it was his breakout game in a sense to where they know that if the money situation gets funny with Jordan Jefferson, that they have a guy in Addison in place just in case they lose Jefferson because he might want too much money because the receivers are about to get really expensive after these performances from Tyreek Hill and JJ this year and others as well too.
And I'll piggyback off of that. I think, and again, I don't have a crystal ball or I don't have any inside information, but we did know that this would be the last year for Kirk Cousins. So I applaud the Vikings on drafting Addison. Here's why. Addison was their safety net. JJ, if you want to play for the Vikings, you're going to play for our pay, not what you think you're worth. Otherwise, a la Stephon Diggs, there's the store start stepping, because they're going to have a new quarterback under center. We have our number 1A wide receiver, and I'm not comparing Jordan Addison to Justin Jefferson. Don't take me wrong there, but the kid is good. And the fact is, they moved on from Dalvin Cook as well. So the writing's on the wall. Hey, we're going to pay you. We know you're one of the best wide receivers, but we ain't giving you, $20 million a year, $60 million guaranteed, because the one thing Justin Jefferson before a couple of games ago never missed a game. He had played 55 straight. The kid's a baller. He does play hurt. He is not a diva yet, like, let's say, Stephon Diggs. And I'm going to put A.J. Brown into that category too, because he started whining 3 weeks ago. And now, Jalen forgets about Devontae Smith and everyone else. So hats off to Addison. Just JJ, be careful. That's all.
Yeah. And I'm with you on that. And Minnesota's just playing Minnesota football, Minnesota money ball. That's it. They don't ever want to overpay somebody, because they've already had this movie before with the guy by the name of Randy Moss. So they don't want to do this again. That's the whole thing. And they've in Dante Culpepper and all. See, the list goes on. And Minnesota is just not good to overspend on who people feel are superb players. That's the whole thing. And they know that they're going to only get so much, and that guy's probably not going to retire a Viking either. So, They get it. It's a team that just gets the long term of who they truly are. All right, let's go ahead and talk about Falcons and Titans. Falcons 4-3, Jeff, the leaders of the NFC, the NFC South, and then you have a Titans team that's really underachieved this year, in my opinion, Jeff. This team could be 4-2 this year. They could be 3-3 this year. They don't have to have a losing record, but they just haven't been able to just put together a great game, in my opinion, this year. They've been able to put together some wins, but they haven't been able to put together a great game this year. And let's keep it real. The Falcons are a work in progress as well, too. And the craziest thing, I say this, but Desmond Ridder is actually in the top 15 when it comes to yardage thrown. And that's pretty good, because they didn't have these type of expectations for Desmond Ridder. And I was looking at the early stats, and Desmond Ridder seemed like he wasn't getting a lot of passing yards. Everything was about the run. But right now, the run to me is the thing carrying Atlanta. Once again, they were able to get over 100 and I think 30 yards or so, 30 yards or more. And they were able to win this game. Every time they have a great running game, they win the game. And they had a good combined running game with Algieri, who was really good on Sunday. And then also Ridder was good. And Bijan Robinson didn't play that much, but he was able to be key in the final stages of the game, because, pretty much he's that dude right now. And Bijan Robinson he's still, to me, the key piece to this team. It reminds me a lot of when Marshall Faulk was on the Colts and on the Rams as well, too, to where if he gets off, you guys are going to win the game. And if he doesn't get off, you guys are going to have issues. And he didn't get off last game, but what happened was the defense saved him. And Baker Mayfield throwing picks, that was huge for him as well, too. But they need Ridder to be more conscientious about holding on to the ball. He was very detrimental to their offense. Fumbling the ball right outside the end zone, that is unconsolable, to be honest with you. So there's a lot of things that he needs to fix, but he's that good of a game manager to where you can't really say we got to bench the guy, because there's no reason to. Because their team is set up as everybody has to do their job well for us to win the game. And that's what it is with the Falcons. The Titans, on the other hand, I feel like they really want to move off of Tannehill as the quarterback. But they don't trust the two young quarterbacks that they have. Malik Willis is more of a gadget type, more of a backup. Tyrod Taylor's, PJ Walkers of the world. And then you got Levis, who's really a guy that's still kind of untapped potential. You don't really know what he could be. You know that they wanted him in the first round, but he didn't get drafted till the second round. But still, that's something that's an issue. They need to figure out who is their signal caller. Derrick Henry, we all know, is somewhat regressing, but he's still the key piece to the team. And I just think that if Tennessee's defense is able to step it up and play a good game, they shouldn't really have any issues with the Falcons. I know that sounds crazy, Jeff, but I truly do think that the Titans should be able to really be able to beat up on the Falcons, because one thing is the Titans are one of the better home teams in the NFL. And I think that them being a slight road home dog is absolutely disrespectful. I know that the Falcons have the better record, but the Titans have, to me, a better coach and a better defense. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Titans with the plus 110 on the money line. And I think it's an absolute gift, brother, to be honest with you.
Well, as you were talking on the intro about this game, I was reading some updated tweets. Tannehill did not practice today, and Mike Vrabel came out and stated that both Levis and Willis will both be playing one of those, those dueling quarterbacks if Tannehill is out. Tennessee has played very, very good at home. It has been a house of horrors for the travel teams. Watched the Atlanta game at length last week. Started to really get impressed with Ritter. I mean, it is a boring offense to watch because they just pound the ball, run the ball, and then, of course, use Bijan as a decoy who had a headache. He was out on the field for 6 snaps and never touched the ball in the first half. Kyle Pitts slowly coming on. Drake London, another USC wide receiver, coming on here. But again, if Tannehill doesn't play, it's going to be who wins the turnover battle. Word on the street is Henry is available. You're starting to see Tajay Spears get a lot more looks. I think it'll be the front seven of the Titans defense that creates a turnover or two. I think Tennessee wins the turnover battle. Look for Spears and Henry to control the ground game. Maybe if Treylon Burks plays, I don't know, a D-Hop touchdown. I took the Titans. I bought the hook up to 2, but I can see them winning this game. Let me see what the under-over is here, Pops, for everyone. 37. I'll go 2017 Titans, Pops.
All right, that sounds good. That sounds good. And you know what? I just feel like the Titans got to bounce back, and this is the perfect bounce back spot for them. So that's why I think taking them today is the best bet for you in this spot, because they just are overdue. And I just really feel like Atlanta is kind of playing with house money a little bit right now because they're just really average. You know what I mean? There's nothing really special about them at this point, other than Bijan Robinson. You know what I mean? Bijan Robinson is an absolute gem. But Desmond Ridder, though, I told people when he was in the draft that he should be the first one off the board. And everybody undefeated at home, had a great record, started a lot of games in college, and it was a weak college quarterback group, and he was the best one out the group. Think about it. Kenny Pickett was good, but Desmond was really good. You know what I mean? He's a winner. The biggest stat in all of sports, winning. Jeff, let's Vince Young literally lost the job because he won too much. You know what I mean? That's why Jeff Fisher's ass never should be on the sideline ever again. Vince Young is the greatest example of that. You know what I mean? And bad coaches that you keep letting in. Thank goodness they came to their senses in Los Angeles, firing him, because he was going to destroy Jared Goff too. He literally was gonna. He was gonna. Now we know that he destroyed quarterbacks. It's that simple. Steve McNair was too good for him to destroy. So it is what it is. But all right, let's get to this Colts game. Colts Saints. And this one, damn, I'm all over the place. But Colts Saints, this one is a very, very good matchup to me. It's actually one that I've been kind of waiting for. You got a Saints team that's 3-4. You got a Colts team that's 3-4. You got a -1 spread. You got an over/under of 43.5. I truly do feel that this could be Derek Carr's last game as the starter if he doesn't step it up, because there is starting to become way too loud, the grumblings of Derek Carr being a problem. You know what I mean, for this team, and I don't know if he's getting the respect that he truly deserves. You know what I mean? This guy was a guy they had on the top 100 list a few years ago, Jeff. Now they're over here talking about when's he getting out the league. You know, and I just don't know if the Saints are a good fit, or I just don't know if Derek Carr's a really good quarterback. To be honest with you, I think he's pretty much average, and that's exactly what most of the quarterbacks in the NFL are. We only really got 5 good ones, and Derek Carr is not one of them. Gardner Minshew had a beautiful game against the Browns when it came to his offensive stats in throwing for long touchdowns. But when it came down to quarterbacking the game, he was awful because 3 fumbles lost, Jeff, interception, sacked 4 times as well too. It just wasn't a good day in general for Minshew, but it was a good day for the team overall. But he still showed signs of him being a very serviceable quarterback as well too. But I think that won't be enough in a game against a team that plays the type of defense that the Saints do. The only reason why the Saints gave 31 points last week was because they were on 3 days rest. And Jeff called it out early in the year that a lot of these games are going to be tricky because the 3 days of rest. If we would have got 10 days, probably 7 days of rest, most likely the Saints would have won that game in the Dome, and they wouldn't have gave up 31 points. So I think that with 10 days of rest, they'll come back into this game refreshed on somewhat of a mini bye, and they'll get the win here, Jeff. I'm taking the Saints with the plus 100 here. Let's get that money.
It's funny because 2 weeks ago we had the Colts. Where were they? They were on the road. Oh, against the Jags in the perfect revenge spot, and Minshew looked like a kid just playing out in the street with a Nerf ball, just throwing it around like it's a hot potato. Looked awful. And then last week, it's Minshew mania, running wild at home. You got the Saints coming off an extra couple days rest on that Thursday loss. And of course, last night, as we're wrapping up the Monday night game, there's Chris Olave thrown in the can because 35 miles an hour over the speed limit, reckless driving. These kids just won't learn. Just ask Henry Ruggs and a few others here. Ask half of the Georgia football team. So tough call here. We went with the Colts in the money line here. Maybe a Minshew bounce back. I do like the Saints in a desperation spot where your eyes are. Something's going on with Carr. He's checked down Charlie. He's thrown for over 300 yards a game, but everything is 6-7 yard outs to the pylon. It's death by 10,000 paper cuts. I think the Colts defensively bottle up Kamara, make Carr throw deep, and I think that's a secret to success. Taylor is rounding into form. Zach Moss. No one's talking about the year that Zach Moss is having. He's been amazing. The rookie Josh Downs having a spectacular rookie year. Michael Pittman, nice bounce back year as well. So I got a close game here. My true numbers pops on this game are, as we speak, it was Saints -1 with a 39.5. It is now flip at circa right now. Colts -143.5. I'm going to go 24-20 Colts with the win here.
And I like your thinking, Jeff. I truly do, because I know you're looking at it that they bounce back. They haven't really been good at home this year. They've won once at home this season. But I know what you're looking at. You're saying to yourself that this is a good bounce back week. This is a good team to bounce back against who has some offensive issues. And it seems like the Colts been able to be really good against teams with offensive issues, even if they got a good defense. And after the way they posterized the Browns last week, who were the best defense coming into the game, then, you look at that Saints defense and you say to yourself, you could be barbecue chicken as well too. So, hey, it is what it is. But the you beat me to it. Josh Downs has outperformed two of the first round rookies this year already, and they were both the first wide receivers off the board. JSN and QJ. Those guys are absolutely absolutely behind Joshua Downs and Puka Nakua. That's
Oh my
crazy.
God. Puka has been unstoppable. Can you imagine next year in fantasy drafts you're going to be talking about at the 1-2 turn? Do I take Cup and Puka? I mean, Puka's just been off the charts.
Yeah, Puka's been good. He's been really good. Well, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. When we get back, we will jump into some more of these early games, and we'll go from there. So this is the NFL Bet Exchange with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson, and we'll be right back to you.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another, and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we're back with the NFL Bet Exchange with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson. And let's go ahead and jump into this game that we have here, and that's going to be a AFC East rivalry, AFC East holy war in a sense. The cold New England guys, the Patriots, and the sunny Miami boys, the Dolphins, going at it is always a fun matchup with the two polar opposites of a division. One team lives in the cold, one team lives in the heat. One team's kind of always bitter, one team seems to always be happy. So it is what it is at the end of the day. And pretty much you got Pats coming in here 2-5, Dolphins 5-2, 9.5 point spread, over under 46.5. Jeff, what is it? 1990? Jeez Louise. It's almost is it Marino versus Zolak? You know what I mean? Golly, you know what I mean? When you look at this one. But when I look at this game, I say to myself that the Dolphins are a damn good team, and it doesn't matter what happened in Philadelphia. Okay, Philadelphia is one of the top teams in the NFL. That was a showcase for the NFL of 2 of your better teams. And usually when those games occur, the road team doesn't really do well. Okay. And it seems like the Dolphins have a bit of an issue playing in the Northeast. They just do. But it wasn't a cold night or anything. It just was not their night, but they did make the game close. The game was 17-17 at one point, pick six, all that good stuff, but they kind of grounded the offense a little bit. But let's keep it real, Jeff. If we stop doing the bias of the MVP award just for quarterbacks and get back to what the true MVP is, it's Tyreek Hill. Because Tyreek Hill is making the biggest impact for any team winning football games in the NFL, period, point blank. You know this too. And pretty much, Tua would not be having this storybook season or storybook career without Tyreek Hill, okay? And I love the way Tua plays because y'all got to understand, I was a left-handed quarterback too. And so, They always dog us out, but we know how to win those games. You know what I mean? We know how to win those games, and we know how to make it look good throwing it both ways. Okay, so he has done a great job. But one thing about Tua is his spirit that keeps his team going, and that's what I like the most. And then you have a really smart coach in Mike McDaniels. He's the coach of what they are for the future. I know I was really hard on Mike too. That's why Jeff made that face. Good thing that we got the caption up. But Jeff knows that I gave McDaniels some real hell last year. But that's because he was doing a lot of cocky stuff. But he's matured. And he's a good coach. He's a good damn coach. And he's innovative, and he's making a lot of moves that a lot of these coaches won't do. And he's scheming up a lot of things that these coaches are scared to do as well, too. And it's making the game much more fun to watch. And then we got the Iron Fist, Bill Belichick. The guy that won't get out of his old ass ways. But last week, his old ways did help his team win that football game. But I truly do think that this is the victory lap for Bill Belichick. It can't be Bill Belichick winning games, Jeff. No, it just doesn't work like that. Look at his face. You know what I mean? It has to be him utterly being embarrassed to get him out the room. Bill Belichick doesn't deserve to go out on a high note, because how many times has he cheated the NFL? You know what I mean? And it's the karma of Bill Belichick's career is starting to show up, even though I still consider Bill Belichick the greatest coach to ever live in the 21st century. But still, at the end of the day, he got a lot of, skeletons in the closet. So, I'm just really feeling like this is the last dance with the Patriots, brother. And I know that it's been just hell to pay going to Miami for the last few years. So this 9.5 point spread is almost too light for me. So I'll take it, even though they're pretty much telling me that, it looks like that the Pats are going to cover, because when you do a 9.5 on a favorite, most times the dog covers that number. 6.5, 9.5 are the numbers of death, because they know you're going to jump all over the favorite with that one. But I don't care, Jeff. I'm taking the Dolphins. They're winning by 2 touchdowns or better. Book it. What are your thoughts? Who do you have winning the game?
Another revenge spot. Week 2, the Dolphins came to New England, and after the first quarter, we're up 17-3, and there was Katie bar the door. We were singing Taps, playing Taps, Amazing Grace before the start of the Bills game on Sunday. And as you said, blink once, 3-0, blink twice, 10-0. Thanks for playing Patriots. And actually, it had to come from behind, and Mac Jones, I think the first one I can remember, taking the ball, excuse me, on the final possession, driving for a touchdown. The emergence of D. Douglas. Zeke has actually looked good. Stevenson looked good. Kendrick Bourne looked good. Now they travel to South Beach, where just basic math, I'm trying to figure the math out. This is, one of those 28-17 games Vegas is telling us here. I bought the hook. I took the Pats up to 10. I drink a little Kool-Aid here. Miami bouncing off a good bounce back spot. Do I expect Miami to win? Yes, I do. Jeff Wilson now back in the helm. Devin A-Chain still out. Jalen Waddle left the game, came back dealing with back spasms. Keep an eye on that one. Too much Tyreek. He was my number 3 pick overall. I did move him up in my fantasy drafts. Having a hell of a year. Dolphins win, Pats cover, Pops. How's that?
All right. Sounds good to me. It sounds like something that can absolutely happen. Me and Jeff had that happen last week with the Colts and the Browns. I had the Browns winning. He had the 2. They win by 1. We both win. So it's all good. All right. So pretty much we move forward. Let's go ahead and get into a matchup that I always like to say, the team from Queens versus the NYC team. You know what I mean? Because the only borough that loves the Jets is Queens. Everybody else loves the Giants. You know that. But, yeah, I think the Jets got some love in Staten Island as well, too. You know what I mean? Y'all don't even know this. Wu-Tang's favorite team is the Giants. They'll say it's split in half, but Wu-Tang They are Jets fans, bro. They are Jets fans, straight up. I didn't know that until I saw them all in Jets gear one day. And that's because the bridge, Staten Island, all that stuff. And, they always feel like the Jets are the forgotten football team. They feel like they're the forgotten borough. So it makes a lot of sense. Queens is the newest borough of the 5 boroughs, and it was supposed to be the fancy borough for a long time. So, they gave him a team here at Shea after the Giant Jets left the Polo Grounds in Uptown Manhattan and went to over to Queens to go play over there. The Giants used to play in Yankee Stadium, so that's why everybody who plays in Yankee Stadium is New York's team. So you know how it goes. But little history lesson on the Jets and the Giants, real quick. I just love the history of these two teams when it comes to football because they really were teams with no homes. And then everybody asks, why do they play in New Jersey? Because you cannot put a football stadium in New York City. You just cannot. It's just going to be too difficult. It's really too difficult. It's already bad enough that City and Yankee Stadium take up so much of a block. Y'all have to understand New York City is not that big. Like, it's a lot of people, but it's not a big place. That's the whole thing, unless you want to put the stadium on an island somewhere, what I mean? Everybody rides a ferry there or something like that. But all in all, this one's easy for me, Jeff, to talk about because I feel like the Jets are the most overrated situation in the NFL, straight up, just because they were on Hard Knocks. Even with Aaron Rodgers, they would have been 3. They probably would be 3-3 right now. And them being 3-3 might be the luckiest 3-3 that you've gotten all year long. Okay, because the Eagles game, the Eagles literally handed it to them. The Bills win. The Bills literally just quit at the punt return. They just said, well, we're going to give up because they're just not going to let us win the game tonight. All right, so we don't care no more. And then their only real solid win was against the Broncos, and they had to come back from behind for that one as well, too. I'm not sold on this, man. And I think Robert Saleh is the most overrated coach in the NFL. Just because you're a good cheerleader doesn't mean you're a great coach. Okay, bro? Sorry. You know what I mean? Just because you're quick to go hug one of your players after he does something great, like a Pop Warner coach or something like that, it doesn't estimate you to being a good coach, okay? It doesn't even – you don't even come near to being a good coach or a good head coach. Guys like that are coordinators, Jeff. I'm sorry. They're just coordinators. You're not a good coach. You're not a good head coach. Sorry. And Brian DeBall, same thing. He's not really that great of a head coach either. But Brian DeBall, for some odd reason, reminds me of the super fan that they gave a job to that kind of knows what he's doing in a sense. And I think that the Giants turned the corner last week against a really good Commanders team, to be honest with you. And I know you say really good Commanders team. The Commanders are a good team. It's just they got to figure some things out, man. That's all it is. If they had one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, they probably would have lost one game by now. That team competes. That's the whole thing. To me, if you compete, you're a good team, Jeff. Wouldn't you agree?
100%.
I'm like, man, dude's just leaving me hanging and stuff. I know I'm talking a lot, but damn. But all in all, I'll get to my point. But I just think that, teams that compete, you got to give them their props. The Commanders compete. We'll get to them in a second when we talk about their game. But this is a good game. It's always fun with the Jets and the Giants. But I really, truly think that the Giants turned the corner last week. And everybody has to understand, it doesn't matter if Daniel Jones plays. As long as Saquon's out there, they have a chance. They have a chance. It doesn't matter. And let's keep it real. Tyrod's been better the last 2 weeks than Daniel Jones been all season. So I'll go ahead and I'll take the Giants plus 125. But I know Daniel Jones is coming back this week to try to ruin everything. But we got Saquon there, so we'll be fine.
The backyard brawl, the resurgent Jets who, have 2 big wins under their belt. Don't forget, they beat the Bills, which now doesn't look as good opening week. And then, of course, knock off the undefeated Eagles. Now travel here. I like what I'm seeing with Tyrod. I wish Daniel Jones would be pushed aside. Again, Barkley's back. But I talked about this player drafted wide receiver rookie from Tennessee, Jalen Hyatt, who has slowly been emerging, and 2 catches for 77 yards last week. And that is a big part of their offense moving forward. Someone that can take the top off. You got a Barkley, they got a pinch in tight. You have other wide receivers there, Wan'Dale Robinson. You got the tight end, Darren Waller. The defense slowly working itself back in. I grabbed the points. I bought the hook. I took the Giants plus the 3.5 here. Even if it lands on 3, we cash. My true number is Jets -3 with a 36. Now 3 with a 36.5. I'm going to go to the basics here. I like the Giants to win outright where your eyes are. I'm going to go Giants 2017 outright, Pops, but we took the 3.5 as a safety.
Yeah, you want the insurance, man. I don't care. I'm going right into it head first. Giants, you go up in there, you show them who runs New York City. You already know. You the NFL team, they the AFL team. Remember who you are. You play for the varsity, they play for the JV. And I'm wearing a green shirt too. That's just irony of the situation. So we move forward and let's go ahead and jump into our next game, which is going to be this one right here. The Jaguars and the Steelers. The Jaguars 5-2, Steelers 4-2, 2 plus 2.5, over under 41.5. This is got to be top 5 games of the week this week. You know what I mean? When you throw up your games, best games to follow, this is one of them. And you know what? Nothing but props to the Jaguars right now. 4-game winning streak coming into this game. They've been hard-nosed, and they've been good wins because they haven't beat bad teams. They beat teams that were slotted to be in the playoffs this year, and slotted to win their divisions this year. So the Jags are turning the corner in a sense. And we thought that it was a bunch of hype, but as I keep telling y'all, some of these teams are slow cookers. Some teams aren't going to be that great in the first 3 to 4 weeks when they're dealing with injuries, when they're getting new players acclimated to their system. It takes a little bit of time to get your mojo. And we all know that Doug Peterson is one of the better coaches in the NFL. They don't mention it enough, but he's one of the better coaches in the NFL. And you know what? It's sad because he's a coach that won a Super Bowl and got fired. You know what I mean? And the team wasn't even in a position to where they were, like that far behind. They almost made the playoffs and he got fired. So it goes to show you how silly these front offices are. But Philly didn't really miss a beat because Philly has the old 90s Cowboys mentality where the roster is so good, I could go get somebody from the 300 seats to come coach the team. And that's how Nick Sirianni looks most of the time when he's coaching the team as well, too. So, it all makes sense. But the Jaguars were blessed to get this coach because he is in the right place. The Jaguar fans just asked for you to win. That's it. The owner just asks for you to win. The expectations are not great. But you know what? With a Trevor Lawrence, a winner, we have expectations now. Can we both say that Trevor Lawrence, if he can continue to be this good, he'll be the greatest quarterback in Jags history? And I thought nobody was ever going to supplant Mark Brunell. But we're at that point now. So the Jags, to me, look really good. They're one of the better teams in the NFL right now. I got them in my top 10 as well, too, and deservingly so. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, me and Jeff told y'all that they were going to be a problem. Why? Because they have Mike Tomlin and because they have the moxie of a team that understands exactly who they are. They don't go outside of the box and try to be things that they aren't. And that's why the Steelers stay grounded. That's why the Steelers stay winning these games the way that they win them, just like they did on Sunday in LA against a Rams team that thought they had something. But the Steelers tried to show them that, you know what, we lock it up and we make big plays on the defensive side to keep games honest. And that's exactly what the Steelers do. But we both know that the Steelers, when they get a win like the one that they did in LA, they usually bounce. This is like a horse racing term where a horse will win a big stakes race, right, Jeff? And then he'll come back and be in a smaller stakes race and he'll finish fifth instead of finishing first. And we say that the horse is bounced because that means that, the horses, you're kind of running them too much. And I think that's what goes back to the Steelers after they win a big game. They bounce. And I feel like they're going to bounce on Sunday. That's why I'm going to take the Jaguars with the plus one with the minus 150 because you're giving me the Jags as the favorite in Pittsburgh. You're telling me that you don't trust Pittsburgh as much. And I would say that Pittsburgh would need to be the favorite after winning the games that they've won. But we know that they haven't been able to really turn that corner on a weekly basis. And this is the perfect game for the Jags to go in there and really prove a point. And hopefully I'm right because it seems like I keep jumping on these games with teams that have been really good, Jeff, and then they go into these games against the established teams that are at home, and then they get their asses whooped. But I'm just using an example because what happened with me and the Lions last week. But all in all, I like the Jags minus 150. Who you taking?
This game here is a great game. 5-2 versus 4-2. Everyone, we talked in August and early September. The toughest division in football was going to be the AFC North. An injury early in the year to Joe Burrow started slow. A Ravens team picked off, and then everyone's poo-pooing them. A Steelers team that, gets mauled out of the first two games of the year. So this division is toast. Well, Tomlin did something. I could see something in the Steelers team. 3-2 after the break. And what people weren't talking about is that Kenny Pickett's binky, Deontay Johnson, their number one wide receiver, hadn't played. So George Pickens now goes to the one. And then you got a slow starting Najee Harris as a Jalen Warren starts to progress there. And now his tight end, his other binky, Pat Frymouth, hurt, now on the IR. But something happened after the bye week. They went to LA, they started slow, but things started to progress. Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Jalen Warren, Najee Harris, and the defense. I told you, Pittsburgh goes as far as TJ Watt being healthy. Bad for, not a bad for, welcome back first half, strong second half. They come back home 4-2. A Jags team, as you said, winners of 4 in a row. Very impressive. ETN, top 5 back in the league right now. Calvin Ridley, 1 catch last week for 5 yards. How's that for your fantasy? Zay Jones still hurt, hasn't played, but Christian Kirk steps up. Evan Ingram steps up. So a defense playing great as well. I think your eyes are spot on, Pops. I would respect the Steelers more as a favorite as I look at our spreadsheet. The Steelers play the Thursday night game next week at home against the Titans. So you don't take care of business this week, short week next week with the Titans coming to town with O. Henry and company. So I bought the hook. I get the Steelers +3, -120 here. Our true numbers here on our spreadsheet, Jaguars -1.5 with a 41. Now 2.5 with a 42. Vegas is telling you 23-20, first one to 23 wins. If that's the case, at worst, I push. I like the Steelers in the upset, Pops, to go to 5-2.
I got you. And you know what, though? And it's so funny because they literally put the same thing that I put the odds makers before because, I do my odds about a few hours before they all come out. And they placed the Pittsburgh Steelers at a +3, and I knew that's what the deal was going to be because you got to look at the fact that the Jaguars have won 4 in a row and 4 tough ones in a row. But at the same time, too, that the Steelers are still considered a work in progress, and so that's why they're gonna be the dog in games against teams they feel are better. And it's going to be like that because they don't have a box office quarterback. Now, if Big Ben was playing, this is a 5.5 to the Steelers. It's easily, you know what I mean? So, how times have changed. But let's go ahead and jump into our next divisional game, and that's going to be a NFC East game between 2 very hated rivals in the Eagles, who were 6-1, and the Commanders, who are 3-4. This is a rematch from a few weeks back that saw the Eagles win the game 34-31. Jeff, I'm gonna let you kick this one off. What are your thoughts on this one, and who do you have winning?
The Eagles are just gentlemen's like, beat up on Miami second half. I'm just going to say this. I don't play the ref card. I don't get into the drama at all. And I just want to say this. I find it hard to believe that in the NFL, they could throw a flag on every play. Yet the final score of the Dolphins-Philly game was Dolphins 10 penalties, Eagles nothing. And you tried to tell me that the Eagles didn't commit one penalty that whole game. I find that hard to believe, but that's for another show. My true number was 7 with a 45.5. Now down to 6.5 with a 43. Truth be told, the best team in the NFC currently is the Eagles. You're going to have to go through Philly. It's not the Lions. It's not the 49ers. But with that said, I bought the hook. I took the Commanders up to 7 minus 120. You got to give – Sam Howell is the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. If you don't give him time, he doesn't have time to connect to McLaurin. Jahan Dotson, just a shell of himself right now. Logan Thomas did not have a big game. Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, the list is endless. On the other side, the tush push – it's all about A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, the forgotten man, Godard, big game last Sunday. I look for the Eagles to win. I look for the Commanders to cover. If I had to give a final score on this game, the true number was 45, I'll go 24-20 Pops. Eagles win, Commander cover.
Well, I like what you're saying with the Commanders with +7 and everything like that. And I think that you're onto a good point with what your points are with the Commanders and with the Eagles and everything like that. But I'm about to be a little controversial here, okay? And that's just because I'm wearing a green shirt today, and I'm just ripping on teams that are wearing green for some odd reason today. I don't know why, Jeff, but it's just a coincidence, I guess. But I'm gonna keep it real with you. The Eagles are a bunch of front runners, okay? I'm just going to keep it way too funky for you right now, because look at the schedule, brother. Who did they really play? Let's see who they played other than Miami. Okay, they played absolutely nothing. And this was the same song we got with them last year as well, too. Jalen Hurts is not a elite quarterback, in my opinion. Jalen Hurts is average at best, playing within a great system. The guy got 9 interceptions right now. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's mentioning that because they're winning games. But when they start losing, it's going to become a very, very strong point. And I truly feel like the way that he plays the quarterback position, you got to be able to try to find everybody on the field. I have a new respect for Patrick Mahomes, and that's hard for me to say because Patrick looks for everybody. When you see Patrick's stats, Patrick throws the ball to 10 different people. When you see Jalen Hurts stats, he's throwing it to 3 or 4 people. That's it. You cannot survive as a great quarterback just throwing it to 3 or 4 people. And then when you start alienating certain players, then you're really setting a bad precedent. I would think that Jalen's a better leader than he truly has been, but they're on cruise control. And everybody's sitting up in here giving them the glory and telling them how great they are. But at the end of the day, they're nothing but front runners to me. This team, I don't even get to see them getting out of the division when they make the playoffs this year. And Dallas is going to give them some real issues when they play. And I'm going to go out on the limb. I have it at +6.5 to the Commanders. But when I release my list this week, Jeff, of straight up winners that usually comes out pretty good when I have thoughts like this, I'm taking the Commanders to win this game. So that +250 that you're going to get on them this week, eat it up. At home, too, go ahead and take it because they are going to beat the Eagles. I guarantee. Yep.
I hope so.
I guarantee. I'm telling you. And where's that Charles Barkley voice at? I need that one right there. I guarantee. All right. So pretty much with that, we're gonna go ahead and take another commercial break. When we get back, we'll be talking some. We do got a commercial break. So when we get back, we'll be talking the last of the early games, and then we'll be getting into the late games. So you guys stay tuned. This is the NFL Bet Exchange with Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and Mr. Jeff Dawson.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, here we are. We are back with the NFL Bet Exchange, and let's go ahead and jump into our next game, which is going to be the Texans and the Panthers. This is going to be a game between the top picks in the draft when it comes to the quarterback position, and two guys that are very familiar with each other, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, two guys from Southern California, Bryce being from my hometown of Pasadena, California, and CJ being from somewhere in the Inland Empire. They got that boy everywhere. Rancho Cucamonga, Upland, Montclair, they had to just say the Inland Empire. That's where he's from. You know what I mean? But all in all, both these guys to me have played good. They played good. And, I know a lot of people, and you know what? It's pissing me off, Jeff. I'm just going to say it now. But, Bryce Young is getting too much flack, especially from people who've never played the quarterback position in their life and possibly never played Pop Warner flag football. They just talk on the internet. Oh, look at the midget. Like, dude, Bryce Young can play the quarterback position. If you give Bryce Young the same talent that the Saints have, if you give him Chris Olave and Mike Thomas and Jimmy Graham, the guy has the same stats as Tua. But he has Hayden Hurst, of all people, old Adam Thielen, and a bunch of no-name rookie wide receivers, and over-the-hill play caller and Frank Wright. What can he do? What can he do, Jeff, at the end of the day?
Do you know why they're giving him so much slack? It's because of who they're playing, and CJ Stroud has exceeded everyone's expectations because he's doing it with non-household names. I mean, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. They added Schultz, tight end from Dallas. And so people in Carolina and the social media that don't know their ass from their elbow are like, well, if CJ Stroud can do it, why isn't Bryce Young doing it? So CJ Stroud is making it harder on the rest of the rookie quarterbacks.
Well, CJ Stroud is just a special situation. That's different. That's what I keep trying to get these people to understand, that there's really good quarterbacks, then there's great quarterbacks. Great quarterbacks make no-name receivers Pro Bowlers, okay? Good quarterbacks make great receivers look great, okay? But there's a big-ass difference, Jeff, and you know this, because at the end of the day, if you hand a great quarterback, somebody like your boy Hyatt out here in New York, I looked at the play that he caught the bomb on. I said a great quarterback would have knew 15 to throw that ball 15 yards earlier than you throw the ball. because as soon as you step on that back foot, you know that he's going to get the step. So you don't even have to think about it. You're just going to throw it on up there. That's what used to make Brady and Manning so great at what they did, was because they knew when Marvin Harris got the step, they knew he was going to get the step because they've already seen the coverage. And that just goes to show you that none of these guys really know what they're reading out there. But if you can see it in the coverage, and I could see it in the coverage when they showed the highlight, any great quarterback would have hit him 15 yards earlier. But you got Tyrod Taylor, Mr. Checkdown himself, and that's why that play went the way it did. That could have been a damn pick if it was even more underthrown the way it was.
If you watch the game on Sunday, which I know you did, watch Tua. Tua was throwing the ball before the wide receivers broke, whether it was Waddle, whether it was Tyreek Hill. He was just throwing it into space, knowing his wide receivers are going to get there. It's not about waiting till they're open. It's anticipating their move, reading the defense, and throwing the ball into spaces. That's all the football NFL is.
Right. And dude, that's basic quarterback play. You have to throw the receiver open. That's what the great ones do. You don't wait for them to get open. You make them get open. And that's just pretty much my 2 cents, but that's my little rant of the day. And that's just because we didn't have much to say about this game, because it's not really a great game. You got 3-3 going against 0-6. The Texans are a team that they're a work in progress. The Panthers are a team that they are building a foundation. You know that both these teams knew that they weren't going to the playoffs. But the Texans have a little bit of confidence because they play in a division that kind of caused for them to compete a little bit. They've made some strides this year. They've got some good wins this year. They've shown the progress that you want to have with the first-year coach and with the first-year quarterback. They're taking their proper steps. And I know that's why a lot of people probably will be very heavy on the Texans in this game. And they are the favorite, so don't think that they're not the favorite, because they are. That's just me messing up the what you call it as usual. But they are the favorite in this game. And the Panthers, to me, are overdue for a win. And when you're desperate for a win, the worst game, that's the worst game for a team like the Texans, because they just really are into, building and going about it. But now they got a game to where they can overlook an opponent, and that's usually danger, in my opinion, Jeff. That's why I'm going to go ahead and do this again, because I've been on this song and dance with the Panthers probably the last month. But they're going to get my money back, and they're going to get my money back on Sunday. I'm taking the money line. Damn. I'm taking a money line. Where did it go? Okay, I'm taking a money line, Jeff. I don't know what happened to my little reading, but I'm putting it back here now. But let me go ahead and get that up here. But all in all, I'm taking the Panthers again for this game right here. I'm taking them with the plus 125. Jeff, who do you have winning this game?
Texans coming off a bye week. I think Tank Dell should be back. Haven't heard much about Damian Pearson. He's got off to a real slow start. Dalton Schultz has picked up the pace the last 2 weeks. Nico Collins has been huge defensively, putting a lot of pressure. The defense has on opponents' quarterbacks. Love their coach. I tell you, tongue-in-cheek, he should be coach of the year right now. CJ Stroud has just been off the charts. A desperate Panthers team. This could be the Chubba Hubbard fantasy football comeback player of the week this week. Could have a big day. Again, I went money line here. I took the the Texans minus 145. I don't do this often. I didn't want to leave any points on the board. My true number is 3 with a 42, now 3 with a 43. This has that old 23-20 written all over it. Would not be shock pops if the Panthers got off the schneid and got their first win. We were on them early this year. We got bit pretty hard by the Panthers back-to-back weeks. And I think 3 out of the first 4 weeks. We're going to back off till they win one. I think CJ Stroud gets it done here. 24-20, 24-17 Texans.
All right. Okay, so we got Rams, Cowboys. Rams coming in here 3-4. You got the Cowboys 4-2, 6.5 point spread to the Cowboys, which is absolutely ridiculous. And then you have an over under of 45.5 as well, too, here, Jeff. I'm gonna be really quick here. Matt Stafford is a very, very inconsistent quarterback, but when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, he loves to absolutely shred on the Cowboys because he's from Texas. He's from the DF Dub area as well, too. And you know what? I think he still got some hard feelings over them not trading him for Dak. Because I called for that trade, Jeff, that Jerry should have traded for Matt Stafford if he really wanted to win a championship. Because it just seems like they were a perfect fit for each other. But you know what? That's in another dimension somewhere where Jerry Jones probably doesn't own the Dallas Cowboys. But anybody else who would have ever owned the Dallas Cowboys in life would have had Matt Stafford on their team already. But all in all, though, I think Matt Stafford has himself a game on Sunday, and he has two wide receivers that are going to give the Dallas Cowboys secondary some monster fits. And the Cowboys just don't impress me this year. I always want to say they got one of the best rosters in the NFL, but I can't really say that this year. They don't have a great receiving core, in my opinion, and their running game is a little flat without Zeke. I don't care what anybody has to say. Zeke really made that running game go. Tony Pollard's a little boring. You know what I mean? He's a return man that you turn into a running back. Let's just keep it real. Jerry played it cheap. That's all on the running back position because he went and got somebody's son as well too to be the other running back who ain't nothing but 5'1". So Jerry is playing it cheap, but he's not being loud about it. And the Cowboys are going to pay for that in the end, in my opinion. I think that the Rams absolutely cover this game, and I'm going to keep it real with you. The Rams are going to win this game as well too. I just took the Rams is on the cover though because that's a safer play. But at the end of the day, they will be going on my straight up wins list as well too. Rams book it. And the last time they were in Dallas, they absolutely annihilated the Cowboys. So I'm just going off the simple fact that the Rams have just owned the Cowboys as of late, and I'm just going to keep rocking with that because that's where we messed up with the Cardinal game. So, yeah, I'm not going to mess up here, Jeff. Give me the Rams. Your thoughts, and who do you have winning the game?
True number 5.5 with the 45.5 again in that 24-20 range something. We had this game here, Rams looking for a bounce back. Not sure which Rams team shows up. The key to this game, very simply, is how much pressure Micah Parsons and the defense from Dallas puts on Stafford. Does he have time to throw? Kieran Williams still out for 3 more weeks. Darrell Henderson, Royce Freeman in the backfield, Cooper Kupp back, Puka Nua, an amazing rookie season, and then you throw in Tutu as well. Today, the Rams cut Brett Maher, former Dallas kicker as well. So they'll be bringing someone in to do the field goal kicking there. We bought the hook. We took the Rams +7. I could see a 27-23 game here. I think both teams are going to be able to score pops. I do like the Rams on the +7 to cover, though.
All right. Sounds good, brother. Sounds good. All right. So let's go ahead and move forward to our next, and that's going to be us going into these late games. The Sunday late game, and pretty much with the Sunday late games, we have up first the Browns 4-2, the Seahawks 4-2. We got Seahawks coming in -3, over under at 39.5. Now on the Pop DiBiase NFL rankings, I have the Seahawks number 12, and I have the Browns number 13. Okay, and I feel like they are somewhat similar teams, but the Browns situation is getting a little bit murkier because this morning it came out, news briefs came out that there's an MRI now on Deshaun's shoulder, even though the coach came out on Sunday and said that he was going to be starting, next Sunday, regardless, no ifs, ands, and buts about it. He's our starter. That's who we're going with. Now we're talking about going and having an MRI on the shoulder. So it's like the Browns aren't telling us the full truth about the situation because they just don't want a media circus all around the the campus of the team. They don't want to ruin the momentum that this overall team has for one player. That's been the Browns' problem for the last decade or so, and it always goes back to the quarterback. And they want to make sure that they don't have distractions. I think they're doing the right thing by that. The Seahawks aren't going to be a good team until they get a really good quarterback. Geno Smith, I'm going to say it every week now, Jeff. I don't care. He's a backup. He's a backup. Go get the clipboard. Go get the headset. That's what he's good at doing, okay? He's just like every other backup ever. You're going to be good for 3 or 4 games, but that doesn't mean you're a quality starter, okay? And I think that he's the biggest holdup with this team. Once again, they scored 20 points against the Cardinals, who weren't even trying to win, Jeff. Come on. And y'all going to keep selling Geno Smith to me like he's a really good quarterback? Even Mike tried to say the other day he was a top 10 guy. No, he is not. He's not even top 25 in the NFL at quarterback as one of the starters. The dude can get you only 17 points. That's 2 touchdowns and a field goal. And he has a lineup that can get you 35 points a game. I can't do it, Jeff. I got to go ahead and take the Browns with the plus 125 because they got the type of defense that can win this game without a big offensive effort, in my opinion. I think they can get 4 turnovers in this game, wind up winning the game 13-10.
You know, it's funny. A lot of money's pouring in on Seattle in front of my eyes. My true number was a 3 minus 0.5, which means the next move is going to be the 2.5 with a 41. Basically, they're giving you the old 21-20, first one to 21 wins this game. I can read the board pretty well. What this number is telling me Deshaun is out. This is a PJ Walker number. Again, defenses travel. So teams look at the quarterback. Oh, it's not Deshaun, it's PJ. Therefore, I can't play the Browns. Well, the Browns found a way to put up 39 points last week in Indy. So I was shocked at this number myself. We bought the hook here. We got the Browns plus 3.5. Definitely putting Geno on upset alert here. A Seattle team that's banged up. DK didn't play last week. Don't know if he's playing this week. In Jigba, welcome to the NFL, got his first touchdown. Tyler Lockett. Fantasy guys, desperate of a wide receiver that you need to pick off the waiver wire. Had a great preseason. I think wide receiver from Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Bobo, who had 3 or 4 catches last week with a touchdown. Think a close game here, even if PJ is quarterbacking. That's what I'm saying here. We got Browns plus 3.5. Who wins the turnover battle, Pops, wins this game outright.
Yep, and to correct you, Bobo went to UCLA.
UCLA, yes.
Yeah, he went to UCLA. He was a top guy over at UCLA. DTR is favorite receiver. All right, we move forward, and we got the Chiefs and the Broncos. And this was a Thursday. Hey. And he won't do that. He won't do that to his other little co-hosts and stuff like that. He only gonna do it to me because he know how I am about the Chiefs and everything. So you know how it goes. But Chiefs 6-1, Broncos 2-5. This is this is what I will call this a trap game. Trap City. I'm telling you, because once again, it's going to be another game where everybody's going to be in love with the favorite. Everybody, this is your lock of the week. This is your team. There's no way they lose this game. But we keep forgetting it's the NFL. They can all lose. You know what I mean? Because Patrick Mahomes can take 2 steps and snap his ankle and not be in the game, and then we got a brand new situation. Okay? So let's all simmer down a little bit and understand that we got to always take these games a lot more seriously than they want us to, okay? But I think Denver found something in the water somewhat last week. I know Jeff probably doesn't believe that, but I think they did find a little something last weekend because they survived. That's the whole thing. They survived. And I don't think that they're going to be losing too many more games at Mile High. They already spotted everybody 3 games. So I think this is a upset waiting to happen, but at the same time, too, I think that everybody else is going to probably be on that upset as well too. So that makes me be in the position where the Broncos are going to get mushed this week, Jeff. And so I got to take the Chiefs in this spot because I feel like the Chiefs are going to wind up beating them by 10 or better because they're just it's levels, and the Broncos ain't on the Chiefs level, brother. Even though it's a division rivalry game, they just not on the level. Who do you what are your thoughts and who do you have winning?
My true number was 9 with a 46. So it was basically, do the Chiefs get 27, 28, or 30? Denver gifted a game again last week. Jerry Jeudy on the trade block. Cortland Sutton on the trade block. Javonte Williams has looked okay, getting stronger. The McLaughlin backup has looked great. The defense has been porous. The Chiefs, no one's talking about is their defense. Their defense is playing so much better. And I liked where you were leaning to initially because the whole world was on the Chargers last week. And not only did they not cover, they got blown out. Not blown out, but they didn't cover or win the game, obviously. We're waiting for that hiccup again. They lost opening game 21-20 at home. And ever since they got Kels back, they got Chris Jones back, they just keep winning. This is, as I've said all along, this is Brady and Belichick. That's what Andy and Patrick is right now. So now you got Andy, Patrick, Kelson, the Swifties. So the more and more they win, the more and more they're going to be hated. I bought the hook. I took Broncos down to 7. I'm going to tell you right now, though, pups, we're going to be watching this line all week because it is up to 8 in most spots. This might be 8.5, 9 by kickoff. So I still think it's a rebuilding year for the Broncos. The Chiefs just keep on winning. I hate to say it, but it's almost like they got the division already wrapped up. But we know stranger things can happen. Give me the Chiefs -7, Pops. We bought the hook.
Well, Chiefs, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, the Chiefs are like a Bob Baffert $1.3 million horse right now, dude. And these are paid workouts for them right now, dog. That's all it is. You know what I mean? When you are the class of the league, that's what happens after a while is that these regular season games ain't nothing but some paid workouts. And so pretty much that's where they're at this point. All right, so Ravens 5-2, Cardinals 1-6. You got a +8.5 going on with this one right here. Over under 44 as well too. So when I look at this game, I know a lot of people are going to be in love with the Ravens this week. Everybody's already touting Lamar as the best quarterback in the NFL. Blah 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 blah. The Ravens can't do no wrong and all that good stuff. But you know what though? In their 2 losses, Lamar looked absolutely terrible. And literally the first 4 weeks, he did not look that good. The defense was really carrying this team. And, he had a good game. Good for him. He finally threw for over 300 yards in a game after pretty much throwing for under 200 yards in 80% of the games that he played in this year. He did exactly what you're supposed to do when you demand all that money in your contract. Your job is not to run for 150 yards. Your job is to manage the game and try to get 300 yards and 4 touchdowns passing. And that's exactly what Lamar did. So we all have to praise him for doing his job. Cut it out. Stop it. You know what I mean? Because we know that Lamar is balling now, but in 4 weeks, his leg will start hurting, and then he'll start playing mediocre football as usual. I just don't trust Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry, Jeff. And Lamar he's a great athlete, and I was one of the people who paid the man, but that's because it's the Ravens. Everybody else was really smart to say, you know what? I'm not giving him that much money. What the hell? Not at all. The only team that he can scam for that much money is the Ravens, dude, at the end of the day. And that's because the Ravens have a great system in place that fits his skill set. So, there's a lot of good things that are going on. But do I consider the Ravens one of the better teams in the NFL? Nope. Even though they're still in my top 10, that's just because of their record. Now, if they had a tougher schedule, they wouldn't be 5-2. That's the whole thing. So when you look at when you look at them in reality, this team has really been able to coast a bit. But all in all, though, I feel like the Cardinals are the scrappiest team in football. I know I say that every single week, and they've let me down the last 4 weeks in a row. But you know what, Jeff? They're not going to let me down this week. Josh Dobbs, take me home tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and take that plus 8.5 with the Cards. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I know I'm shocking the system a little bit, but they're going to Arizona, and things get crazy in Arizona, and you know that.
Pops, I think you've taken your hatred towards Patrick Mahomes. You finally waved the white flag.
Hold on. Time out. There is no hatred, man. There's just
no.
on the situation, brother. Lamar is not that good.
Let me still.
And you used to be on Lamar Hall last year too, so stop it.
My point, very simply, was your haterade towards.
I'm not hating. I'm not hating, bro. I'm just having an opinion.
You know I'm only messing with you when I'm using these words that I'm choosing. My point is you're dissing on Lamar for the fact of the matter, and in came the Lions, 3-point dogs, not 6, not 8, not 10, the hottest team in the NFC. Don't forget they were undefeated on the road, and the Ravens just stepped on their throat. I mean, what was it, 35-0 at halftime? This guy called Lamar has taken it to the next level here. He is throwing the ball a lot more efficiently. He is actually becoming a pocket passer. This Ravens team is pretty damn good. I think they go out to the desert, which has taken down some teams. I know that for a fact. But I don't see the little engine that could, Kyler Murray. I don't see Neil Lomax. I don't see a bunch of these other quarterbacks out there from the past that are going to slow down this train called the Ravens. And I think this is an ugly game early. I think they come in, they take care of business. And I think the Ravens, probably behind the Chiefs, are the second best team in the AFC and probably a top 5 team in the NFL right now, Pops.
All right, let's see when the schedule gets real.
So who were the Lions? Who was the Lions?
The Lions are probably the best thing that they've had on the schedule, dude. And then when you look up and you see that they lost to the Colts of all teams, the Colts are okay. But, that Colts team that pretty much gave you the blueprint on how to play the Ravens. And if you can go ahead and play with that game plan, then it's going to be ugly for them. Because if you make Lamar do too much, they ain't going to win the game. You know that, Jeff. You know that. Every time Lamar has 400 yards to himself, they lose by 10.
But see, he's not. But my point here, Pops, is he's not rushing for 100, 125 yards a game. He's not rushing for 2 and 3 touchdowns a day. It's a different look. That's all I'm trying to say. And what I saw on Sunday was a totally different quarterback. The emergence and the addition to Zay Flowers, it opens up the middle of that field. And I'm not an OBJ guy. He's good for 1 or 2 catches. You got Mark Andrews. I don't know, Gus Edwards catching 80-yard touchdowns, he was on my fantasy bench. I just think this is a team that you're going to have to be leery of. And I think this could be one of the teams that you're going to rejoice that take down the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes.
Man, they're not even going to get to that point. They're not even going to get to that point. The NFC North is real, man. And I'm going to call Lamar an 8-week quarterback because once we get past week 8, he's going to get back to being, oh, man, Lamar messing my money up, man. I'm telling you. It happens every single year. Here we go. Lamar has one great game, and we're all, Lamar's the MVP. Then Lamar has 4 stinkers, and it's like, why'd they pay him all that money? It never ceased to fail Lamar Jackson. I'm a steady supporter of Lamar, but I know what's going to happen. Once we get past week 8, it ain't going to be the same party. It's just like that with him. It's that simple. I'm just waiting for the hamstring or the thigh or whatever injury that's about to happen. That's all it is, man. He's an injury-prone player. It's that simple.
I thought we were just talking. I thought we were just talking Popeyes or KFC. We were talking about thighs, hamstrings, and
yeah, thighs, hamstrings, and all types of shit. But Bengals, San Francisco. This is an absolute joke that this game is not the Sunday night football game of the week, Jeff. I'm sorry, dude. Like, why would you have the Bears and Chargers as the Sunday night football game? And you got Bengals 49ers, which they're going to be touting as a possible Super Bowl matchup. It doesn't make any sense. But you know what? We got to move kind of quickly. And there's not much to really talk about here. You got a Bengals team coming fresh off of a bye. They're playing much better football now. They're 500 now. You got a 49ers team that's 5-2 now. Everybody's already ready to write the 49ers off because they lost 2 in a row. The two teams on the road. And you know what? And Jeff will agree with me on this. There's not a real bragging point on the 49ers losing last night when they don't have Trent or Debo playing. Trent and Debo are very, very key pieces to what San Francisco does. They need every piece of the puzzle to really be able to dominate teams, but they still were in contention to win the game. So that's why I keep putting the 49ers up as the best team in the NFC, in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and take the 5.5 on the 49ers because I know everybody's going to overbet the Bengals here. So I'll take the 49ers with the 5.5, and we'll go ahead and cash that ticket.
My true numbers was 6 for the 44.5, down to 5.5 and a 45. Obviously, 49ers losing. Obviously, everyone remembers what they saw last. Bengals coming in off a bye week, should be a more healthier Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. Who the hell knows with T. Higgins? On the flip side, again, everyone wants to smash Brock Purdy. 2 weeks ago, it was the field goal kicker, Moody, missing the game winner in Cleveland. Last night, Brock had a chance to come down and win the game through an interception. The biggest piece missing is Trent Williams. CMC muscled his way through. Debo wasn't there. Ayuk was kind of missing in the second half. Kittle had a big game. Again, looking for a wide receiver maybe to cover up Debo, Juwan Jennings there. But I'll take the bait. I bought the hook. I get the Bengals +6. Let me see what the over-under here, 44.5. Wouldn't be shocked, 27-20. Final 49ers here. This is, don't forget, a 49er team that's lost 2 weeks in a row. A 49er team where we were anointing as NFC champs 2 weeks in a row. So I think the Bengals will be the public trendy dog, Pops. I'm biting the carrot here. Look for a big bounce back, though, where you are with the 49ers.
Hey, and you know what? I'm kind of pissed off because, they should have made this more of a 2.5, something like that. So then, you could just 50-50 money line the game. They want to make it to where, okay, you're going to either take the team that's going to win by a touchdown or take the team that's going to lose by 3 points. It's one or the other, brother. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. I think it's possibly the game of the week. And we just move on from there. We got ourselves Sunday night football, Bears at Chargers. This is not anything we don't even have to get that crazy into this game. And pretty much, I'm going to just be honest with you right now. The Chargers need a bounce back situation. They've lost 2 games in a row. I'm not worried about the Chargers right now at this point. I think the Chargers are the same old song every year. If they win 2 in a row, expect them to lose 2 in a row. If they lose 2 in a row, expect them to win 2 in a row. And then they'll start alternating wins and losses like they do every single year. And they're either going to wind up 8-9 or 9-8. It's just the same old damn song with the Chargers. And it's almost like you just get frustrated knowing that this team could be 6-0 right now, Jeff. They could be 6-0 right now. And you just get so frustrated because they just keep coming up short every week. Even when they win, it's just like, damn, enough is enough. I understand, at the end of the day, this is just a really, really just frustrating situation if you're a Chargers fan. If you are a fan of football, to see a team that could possibly be the best team in the NFL underachieve week in and week out. But I'm still going to be crazy enough to take them to win this game by 2 touchdowns or better. Honestly, they're going to win this game by 21 or better. They are going to absolutely destroy the Bears in this spot. The Bears have no chance. Yeah, they beat the Raiders, but do the Raiders care? They're trying to get a coach fired. Guys, come on. We're not showing any effort for McDaniels. Come on, dog. You know what I mean? when you decide to start Brian Hoyer, come on, man. You weren't trying to win in the first place. So I'm taking the Chargers 8.5. Jeff, what are your thoughts? Where are you going from here?
9.5 and a 44 was my true number, down to 8.5 for the 46.5. You know what? I was all in on Herbert. I was all in that they'd find a way to do this without Staley. Obviously, it's wrong. For a diehard Charger fan, you probably want to get embarrassed on Sunday night primetime, so he will get fired on Monday. But I agree with you. We bought the hook. We took the Chargers to -8. Look for Eckler. Look for Keenan Allen. Look for Joshua Palmer. Even look for maybe Quentin Johnson sighting. Maybe they feed him a touchdown. This is, I'll go on record, 30-17, no Justin Fields, another week off for him. Maybe Roshan Johnson comes back, but this is Chargers early and often and a double-digit win.
Sounds good to me. And you know what, man? I'm going to keep it real with you. I just can't picture him firing Staley because Staley be using his little story as a way for them not to just fire him, bro. You know how I'll be going with the Jerry Kidd situation? You know how it be going, man. You know, these coaches be having these sad ass stories, and they be like, well, you know, I just don't want to fire the guy, you know. He's not achieving anything here either at the same time. So, you know, it is what it is. All right, Monday Night Football, Raiders.
Are you ready? There's a party.
I'm trying to get you back to your next show, damn it. You know what I mean? Jeez,
I'm already late.
Raiders.
I'm trying to throw you some curveballs. That's all.
Raiders 3-4 at Lions 5-2, 7.5 point spread over under 44.5. You have yourself the Raiders coming in here. Raiders, the only team I know that won 2 in a row, and they said still fire the coach. That's just how bad it is in Vegas right now. And everybody keep talking about firing the coach. I keep being like, fire the owner. Jeez Louise, he's the one that keeps making the bad decisions. You know what I mean? Mr. Tommy Boy himself. But all in all, though, Mr. Dawson, we can be really, really simple here. I know what they're going to do. Detroit is still America's team, even though they got whooped by the Lions. But we should have all saw that coming because that's how it is with teams that are getting into being better teams after being mediocre teams for a long time. So pretty much what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the Raiders with a +7.5 because the last time the Raiders played on Monday Night Football against the Lions, it was 30 years ago. Barry Sanders was still playing for the Lions. The Raiders were in Los Angeles as well, too. And the Raiders won that game by 10 points. I totally remember that Monday Night Football was one of the funner Monday Night Football games that I was able to watch. And the Lions were wearing their throwback jerseys that night as well, too. They're going to introduce their brand new jerseys this weekend. Well, not their brand new jersey, but their brand new helmet, which is blue, Jeff. Their royal blue color or Pontiac blue, as they like to say. And they will be revealing those helmets on Monday. So that should be a lot of fun. So I'm taking the Raiders +7.5, man. It's going to be funny seeing that they're going to be playing the Lions without a silver helmet come Monday night. But all in all, what are you thinking about this one?
You know, it's one of these games. Listen, Pops, you know this. I told you guys not to hire Josh McDaniel. I told you not to go and sign Jimmy G. I told you don't sign Devontae Adams. But no one wants to listen to this kid on the Cape here. Okay? The key to success for the Lions, very simply, is putting pressure on the quarterback with Aiden Hutchinson. Their defense has been phenomenal. Well, guess what happened? They didn't put pressure on Lamar last week, and it showed. Back home, first time on Monday night in a long time, I think since Sam Darnold back a few years ago when he made his debut for the Jets. We bought the hook, Lions -7. Let me see, my true number 44.5 with a 7.5. Now 8.5 with a 45.5. I'll go 30-17 Lions early and often.
Well, sounds good. Sounds good. Pretty much it should be a good game. It's another 7.5 point spread, and I think might have the winner because usually what happens is one week the dog wins, the next week the favorite wins. That's kind of like how Monday Night Football works. Because I'm telling you, sometimes people just have to look at the strategy of things and see that's where your bet has to go. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what the stats are going into the game. That's just where your bet has to go. But all in all, another great show. I really thank you very much for coming on in. I know you're busy today and everything like that, Jeff. I really do appreciate it. And as usual, another great show. Any final words before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, I mean, I was just messing with you a couple times, as you know that. I thought I'd add a little spice to the show. I know you got to cut and edit it anyway, so all my humor will get cut, but that's okay. Nothing but love over here, Pops. NFL
get cut because you know what? We have a total live show that they can all watch and just go ahead and watch it. I just cut it up so then they can just get to their little favorite team. That's all.
Week 8, guys, go back to week 7. Spin, rinse, repeat. Okay. A couple weeks ago, 2 undefeated teams lost, Eagles and 49ers. What happened this past week? Well, Bills and 49ers lose again. It's just not for long. Any team can beat anyone. Wouldn't be shocked if the Pats went into Miami and won outright. Wouldn't be shocked if the Bears went in the Chargers. So the point is stay in your lanes, guys. Okay. Next week we'll be talking, and it's November 1st coming up. So have some fun with it. Pick and choose. Use our information to help guide you to the window. Put in a little stuff to scratch and itch it too, and have fun with it. Love you guys.
Yep. We love you. And you know what? You guys be good this week. Be great this week. And you know what? We'll be back to you next Tuesday for week 9, and we'll have a whole bunch of talk about. And we'll start on time as well, too. So, and that's on me, not Jeff. So you guys know we will start on time next week at 10 o'clock. So with that is going to be a wrap for the NFL Bet Exchange. I'm your host, Pop DiBiase, the one and only, and the Don of Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson, and we are out of here. We better do toodles.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFL Bet Exchange, where the sharpest bets are laid. This show was produced by the Prime Wave Media Group.